In the vibrant world of social media, where reality often blurs with performance, an unexpected shadow fell. The story of an influencer who, overnight, plummeted from the spotlight to an international nightmare. Her name is Woah Vicky. Millions of followers, millions of views, and a reputation already controversial. But nothing could have prepared her thousands of fans for what was to come. A cryptic message posted on social media, a missing persons report, a ransom demanded, and a distant destination, Nigeria. The shockwave was immediate. Her followers and the world held their breath. Was Victoria Rose Waldrip, 24, truly in danger? The story begins on December 29th. Woah Vicky, real name Victoria Rose Waldrip, originally from Atlanta, is a prominent figure in the influencer world. With 1 million YouTube subscribers, 3.7 million on Instagram, and over 7 million on TikTok, her presence is massive. She is known for her chaotic energy, a euphemism for a series of past controversies, including her use of the N-word in 2017 and her claims of being black, despite her Caucasian origins, which earned her accusations of blackfishing from celebrities like Snoop Dogg. Despite these controversies, her digital empire endured. But this time, the potential scandal far surpassed her usual antics. The Twitter message was clear, chilling. I have kidnapped Vicky. She is with me in Nigeria. I'm demanding $1 million for her release. Immediately, concern mounted. A kidnapping abroad for a public figure of this magnitude would have serious repercussions, triggering an international mobilization of law enforcement. Fans questioned, the media buzzed, but the anxiety was short-lived. Less than 48 hours after the terrifying announcement, Woah Vicky reappeared, not in the arms of the police, but live on her own social media channels. Her message? It was all a hoax. Just a laugh.
She stated, "Sorry about that. Everything good, y'all? God bless. God bless. Sorry about that, y'all. It's all love. I love y'all. We love y'all. I was just bored and having fun, just getting a laugh in. That's it. But it's all love, though. I just having fun with my brother. Everything good, though. Everything good. I'm sorry about that. Please forgive me. We kind of got carried away with the joke. We just like to have fun and joke. I don't drink or to go to the club, so this is how I find my entertainment. It's probably not the best way to do it. I should probably be like reading the Bible or something like that. But sometimes, you want to have a little fun. The Bible say laughter is good for the soul. So I be wanting to laugh, and this is how I find that funny. I don't like date really. There's no really but much people I could date because of my Christian values. So this is kind of like how I have fun. But, we all struggle in different areas. So, I'm not saying this was the right thing to do, but I take accountability and ownership. I'm sorry for anyone that I harmed in the process, but it's all love. The Bible says laughter is good for the soul, she declared, attempting to justify her actions. She explained that the prank began with calls to acquaintances before her brother posted it on social media. The idea of a tweet and even a cryptocurrency based on the hoax had emerged. It was only when her brother's friends started to become genuinely concerned that the gravity of the situation became clear to them. She continued, "We weren't thinking at all. It's probably not the best way to do it. I should probably be like reading the Bible or something like that. But sometimes, you want to have a little fun. The Bible say laughter is good for the soul. So I be wanting to laugh, and this is how I find that funny. I don't like date really. There's no really but much people I could date because of my Christian values. So this is kind of like how I have fun. But, we all struggle in different areas. So, I'm not saying this was the right thing to do, but I take accountability and ownership. I'm sorry for anyone that I harmed in the process, but it's all love."
The Woah Vicky case is not an isolated incident. Recent history is rife with examples of kidnapping hoaxes with very real consequences. Sherry Papini in 2016, missing in California, found weeks later with an elaborate abduction story, eventually pleaded guilty to mail fraud and making false statements, receiving 18 months in prison and $300,000 in restitution. More recently, in 2023, Carly Russell in Alabama fabricated her own abduction after calling 911 to report a lone child on the side of the interstate. She reappeared 48 hours later with an abduction story before admitting her lie and pleading guilty to false reporting, with a year of probation and an $18,000 fine. These cases highlight the seriousness of such acts. Each false alarm mobilizes significant law enforcement resources, diverting attention and means from genuine emergencies. To better understand the impact of such hoaxes, we interviewed Colin Schmidt, a retired FBI agent.
Colin Schmidt stated, "Absolutely, yeah, I've worked several kidnappings when I was in the FBI, and generally speaking, the abduction or the report of abduction obviously would go to a family member and then local law enforcement, and then they would call in the FBI because there's an inherent assumption that there's an interstate nexus to every kidnapping. And then at that point, the FBI starts ramping up resources to support law enforcement to find the person that was abducted.
Time is a crucial factor. The first 24 hours are often decisive for gathering evidence, testimonies, and freezing potential areas. And cell phones? Gold mines of information.
Colin Schmidt explained, the first thing they're going to do is look at the text history, and then the next step would be to use some digital forensic tools to kind of rip the history out of that phone to find out maybe geolocations or interactions, or even a web history of what they were downloading. Even internet search history can reveal unexpected clues, as Agent Schmidt experienced. Colin Schmidt recounted, I had worked a reported kidnapping many years ago, where the person had recovered themselves and reported they had been kidnapped. And the first thing that we did was we went into their web history, and one of the first searches they made was how to fake your own kidnapping. So obviously from there, we understood it was a hoax kidnapping. Regarding Woah Vicky, had a full-scale investigation been launched, her notoriety would have paradoxically made her easier to locate, thanks to her recognizable face. However, the international aspect of the case, involving Nigeria, would have complicated jurisdiction. Colin Schmidt clarified, it is more difficult because the FBI has no jurisdiction in Nigeria. They would have to work with the local authorities there. And that's why doing something like this, it kicks off a huge process where a lot of very powerful people and powerful organizations start getting involved. Despite the potential seriousness of her act, it appears Woah Vicky will not be faced criminal charges. The hoax was exposed very quickly, without significant mobilization of official police resources. Colin Schmidt observed, I don't think so because it was so rapidly it went up and then it went back down. And if there had been resources had been expended on this, then I think there would have been some prosecutorial involvement and some investigation on this. But it doesn't appear right now that anybody expended any resources, and frankly, the people who were in charge didn't really take it seriously on its face. That's what it appears.
However, the moral consequences and the loss of trust from her millions of followers are very real. Bad buzz, even if it generates clicks, can ultimately and permanently damage the reputation of an influencer whose career relies on community engagement. Colin Schmidt concluded, the problem for her is that there may be some consequences for what she has done. Her followers are pretty irritated by what she did.
Woah Vicky's story is a stark reminder of the inherent dangers and responsibilities that come with the power of social media. In a world where the thirst for attention can lead to extremes, the line between reality and fiction, entertainment and deception becomes increasingly blurred. A laugh that could have cost dearly, and which leaves a lingering question: how far will one go to maintain engagement and notoriety in the ruthless arena of the web? Only time will tell.